Roll call, please.
Ludwig.
Here.
Miller.
Yes.
Ready. Here. Mitchell.
Here.
Schmeckel. Here. Edward. Here. Kegel.
Here. Next one, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, I want to give thanks for allowing us to be here tonight, conduct this business of knowledge, and to give thanks for all the people in the audience who came and pitched in. And we give thanks for all the safety that has been taking place here over the winter. Amen. Amen. Okay. Next, 1.2.5 approval absent. We don't need any of that. We need to add 2 items to the agenda. One is a social district application for Dreams Tavern. The other one is for Cones Terrace proposal 12243 and new business already economic development plan. May I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition. Oh, I'm sorry. Bill to be. With bills to be paid in the amount of $6,241.34. You got a first and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I just have a question, I guess, regarding the planning commission meeting. I guess less question, more of a clarification. At the last meeting, I asked a question regarding the change of the zone to the MAT property. I was asked to put that in writing to the commission, which I did. And then I have looked back through the commission meeting minutes and printed off one just for reference where it was done correctly. 7/18, so July 18th, 2022. Dixon made a motion to accept and present the Village of Roscommon Recreational Establishment Ordinance to the Village Council. And then the very next month, 8/8/22, that was put under our new business on our council meeting agenda. So from when I reviewed these meetings from February 24th, it appears, and I guess more of this, I guess, the board directed, I've been advised to direct my question to Dana, and she is our chairperson.
If I let you know, I may not be able to answer your question. I've been in one meeting.
Okay. So it on the February 24th, it appears that under the old business, it's explained, Mr. Alden explains how it was supposed to be done in January. And then there's the approval to bring it to the council for approval. And then business number 7 is referring to my letter. And then the response from Mr. Riley that basically was saying that this was not a valid question and I was obviously confused. So I guess my clarification is that I'm asking for is why did I get a nastygram when clearly it wasn't done correctly the first time and was then done correctly in February?
I'm not sure it was done correctly. There's several steps that take place when you change zoning. One is, the planning commission has to research it. They discuss it. They have to post it into the paper. It needs a public hearing. After the public hearing, they can pass whatever they're trying to change. After that, they wrote a resolution to pass and then wrote a resolution for the council. All those steps take several meetings to go forward. So tonight's with the zoning change resolution on property, on the M18 property, that's the final step. And they have kind of gone through all the different steps and that's the final. Where the council will have final say.
Because these ones that I looked through and the one that I printed off for reference, all of them followed the same. It wasn't the motion to approve and then a motion to send it to council. It was this motion to accept and present to the village. That was repeatedly how that went. And then in the next meeting for the council, it was put on for the council to pass, to vote on. So it just, this was over and over and over how I saw it. And then that's not how this one went. And then I guess my only other question is, it says a letter from me was presented. And the planning commission chairman Riley's response. So did he present this response at the meeting?
At that meeting, he brought a written response. Yes, he did.
And read it to the board, and everyone thought it was an appropriate way to respond to someone that was told to ask in writing to them.
Apparently.
Okay, no one else has anything to add?
I agree with you about the wording of that letter. I think it was snarky.
It was snarky. That's a good word for it. It was very snarky. I don't think it was very appropriate. Appropriately written.
There's a way to draft up one that appropriate, I guess, responses. It just seemed like it was a little bit aggressive. So I don't think they're all, no.
Okay, that's all I have in regards to that.
Any other comments today? Director Jones? Rebuttal?
I don't have a rebuttal, but I do agree. I don't know, I can go back and do the research you did on the prior. But I did actually look at the adoption of the amendments. And it seems the way that they did it. I mean, it's not going off of the prior, the way they done it prior, but it seems the way they did it is within the way.
Wording wasn't properly?
It
Wasn't the wording wasn't proper?
I think wording is where the problem was, and that's actually what I was working.
Did anybody change the secretarial positions or goals or anything like that to where that would cause a change in the wording?
We have a new chair and there's a new not council, but commissioner on her and then Dan said that was her version of that role.
I just want maybe something changed in there to where, or, something changed in the process, way to push it, so. So, on the letter to Mr. Riley, do we want to have Mr. Elvin go back to the plan commission or Dana? And go back to, we need to do more professionally in answering questions than reaching out at people. Is that what we want to send a motion to that side? Let them know that we're not happy with the way he reached out. So take a motion or just take a conversation? It's a
Conversation, yeah. I think
a conversation just to say, hey, let's relook this, let's look at the language. See if it might have been a little more than that means. I mean, the tone of it.
Yeah, that's all I think was.
I think, but based on all grades are reviewing. Any other discussion on anything on the agenda? If now we have a first, second, roll call, please.
Smacker.
Yes.
Ready. Yeah. Bishop.
Yeah.
Edwards. Yes. Ludwig.
Yes.
Eagle.
Yeah.
Miller.
Yes. Okay. Next item will be, regular agenda. Can I get a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular agenda with the added items of the social district application in the home care.
Got a first, can I get a second, please? One second. Got a first, second, any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Miller,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Leddy,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
Ready, Edward, Trumbull,
Okay, next item will be managers report, Mr. Oliver.
Well, welcome everyone tonight. Thank you for taking time out to spend tonight's meeting. I hate to say this when I got wind of this about 20 minutes ago. March 24th through July 18th. I-75, 5.5 minutes will be under construction. So if we have to bring on that area, we'll be down to one lane, you know, how when they work on those bridges, so we'll have a chocolate there and go.
Which one is that one?
44 or 239?
244.
Out. Okay. So that's what it tells you.
It's a March report to July 18th and the target point also. And it's gonna do your basic repairs, but anyway, just let you know if you're going certain ways, you'll be through the circle last weekend. And typically that weekend, they'll start things out and make it doable for the folks and trailers and stuff like that, but just gonna put that in your, it's not the room center, really, it's coming along nicely. They've we got some recommendations from the GDA, and we're working on the electrical part of it, and as we get also bringing in the finishing, there's a little bit of plumbing that has to happen, not under the pavilion, but on the west, actually on the east end of the South River Center, one of the water spigot there, so we have an event on that. Just holds it down and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm sure the crews from the happy to work in the weather that we had today. Hiawatha, it's coming along nice. They're working on plumbing as well as electrical in there right now. Getting a jump on that. Hopefully they can get that part of it finished, and so then when weather breaks in the spring, they can go ahead and just run a test and the line quick release and stuff like that, and have that sort of taken care of. There is some painting and some stonework that needs to be done, and then we're going to walk with that. Once that gets moving, the thing we want to do is a big garage that we want to paint that and that kind of match, the restrooms there, so kind of finish off the areas. We had Chris Fisher from Kodiak come in and direct wire, direct wire our Wi-Fi. At the last meeting, if you recall, things kept cutting out and then having that, and so that's gonna help take care of that part of our issue right now. He is also going to come back and drop in our wire. You probably can see it back here, but there's a line that comes out of Walnut again, and Mike has to carefully work around that hooks into the computer here. I asked for the drop line there so we can just give a direct line. So we're gonna have those taken care of next month. Our summer core program. Every summer, core is gracious enough to run a student. It's kind of shop students, you can come in and help out. We have 3 or 4 students coming in this summer. Excited about the work that they do to help clean up papers and stuff like that, especially after our busy weekends. They help weed on the beds. They have painted the fire hydrants. They have painted walls for us here. I mean, just a combination of things. So we are all signed up for that program again this summer, and then we go 6 hours a day, 4 days a week for 6 weeks, I want to say. So it's quite a bit of labor that we get free, and I appreciate for it. I said at the last meeting that the spruce is supposed to be demoed mid-February. And as we know, it has that. I reached out to the insurance company and then down, motor me to kind of, do some springs that's gonna be such a delicate demolition, beautiful culture road. So I think they want to make sure that, when they do it, that the weather's not gonna be a factor and not move around snow and stuff like that, so, I'll say maybe it'll be done this month, but I know that it's all conference have been signed, with the agreements there, so it should be, happening sometime in the spring.
So within the next 3 months.
I see they moved the picture.
Yes.
They moved that, and it's still on the. Well, they take fencing down, they take this lot of stuff out, remove the stuff out, and I will. We're noticing it, I mean, we see it, and, I think from the road commission standards, we ought to. Maybe we're gonna move that sign that's right there, gets to the ball of that sign, and village wide, I think move that light pole under there. Just so that light pole don't get destroyed too. Cause that stuff's gonna be all over the place, and we're assuming they're gonna close the road off. And put some dumpsters right there.
I would think that they announce when they're gonna commit, right, so we can get all that stuff done.
Well, that's the state highway, they gotta go through the, that's a state highway, so they'll go through PennDOT. Then I'll get the mid-way before we go.
So when they're gonna do the actual demolition.
We'll tell them when they're closing the road down, so then.
Oh, okay,
To close the road.
so then we can get the light.
Yeah, yeah. We also have to do, we have a bit of a watershed out there that we, temporary, it was broken and temporary fix when the fire, occurred. And so we had to go back there and cap that and, get that, also. So we have a little bit of work to do too. Rich Castle, who is our, consumer energy representative. Rich and I have a couple meetings a year, talk about different programs. They run a lot of grant programs and some programs there. Program out now, which is kind of like put the village onto the map. Grants for $10,000 to $25,000. It might be something that they're looking for. Kind of a wow factor sort of thing that something I know other community has. And he and I talked about some possibilities in that. You also have that larger grant, that may be as much as, $250,000. You know, that might be the next grant to consider for the pedestrian bridge down at Wallace Park there, you know, and so, so he and I shared some ideas and talk about some of the, possibilities. So mentioned to Rich that this spring, several of our businesses have went through a series of lawn mowers, bring up motors, and if you recall at Thanksgiving time, the family fair, their food went down. Across the street, they had 4 motors go down between the arcade and one back in the kitchen. Bob's Butcher Shop had one go down there. One more.
They got an electrical thing?
Well, something just doesn't sound right, you know, and so
Yeah, little blow water, it's good to tell them.
yeah, he and I talked about, you know, there's something loose and connected, not grounded or whatever. And so our guys, and the guys across the street, they also reached out to Consumer Energy. And they looked into a ransom test and sure enough found something wasn't connected.
Transformer or something.
Yeah, you know, so they're in the means of repairing that. They have repaired some of it and more to go, but it was just no one was expecting the money back or wherever. It was just a coincidence that in a short period of time, all these.
Family Dollar has, cheers, Family Dollar has some coolers down right now.
Okay,
I just noticed that.
all right.
I'm laughing at it.
So anyway, you know, these old towns were wired different years ago, and they weren't. It was just like your infrastructure, your roads, and everything else. They weren't designed for 100 years from now, you know, kind of thing. And so consumer energy, they take care of us, they are going through and making necessary changes and stuff like that, so I'm glad that we happened to inquire, even though we weren't sure that there was an issue once before, but it was. I think that's all I have.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Alden on manager's report?
Question about, I've been seeing some posts about even the water bills. It's let the water runs currently, so have been the kind of income, so some people have had actual reviews, maybe they been contacting you as well, or okay.
Yeah, they have, and we're on a let run, and it feels 60 degrees today. Make them turn it off, and when it warms up, then push it. So that's normally when David was. But when we checked last week, we only had a 32, 33 doing the lift. So when Tammy ran the bills this month, a lot of them she did her actual rates, and then there's just a handful of them that she had to adjust due to the let run. There's been a couple people that come in today and they my bills off, but this took up and on the errors. So that's very common with when you start estimating.
The year my water line broke up, which was 1994. It rose from the 10th of February to the 16th of April. I didn't have water. I mean, we had to run a guard notice from the neighbor's house and we're down the steps, and then I had to do all the faucets run 24/7. So I'm not taking any chance of probably ever going to do that.
And if I could enlighten a little bit on that. I found out with our system, our new system, we don't have to estimate water bills. Our new system doesn't really call for that, and nor do they tell us about the freezing. We do that as a preventative. So what happened was when we did that February bills, were estimating. When I did the Marches, it hit that estimate, and then it went from, say your bill was 164, and then it didn't actually read, and now your total is at 184. So it billed you for all those gallons. So I'm just adjusting them and I'm trying to catch the people again, but there's no cheap up. Yeah, but we didn't want to do that. Yeah.
They've been contacted.
Yes, we've got a, please stop. Around here, can say only 32 people are, 33 daily water bill. Tell you that if you channel is not, all right, Linda, I'm gonna use your word. Yeah, I said, she went to her bill was over, but her brother's was perfect. He's just one guy and he's the only guy there. They use more water than her brother. So her bill got hit with the excess usage. Her brother didn't, because he didn't hit the threshold of 2,000 gallons. So therefore his was normal. And it read it automatically. So that's what we learned, and we'll go from there. I just took a bill, no charge, no check. Because it's a different stuff.
Right. But just to inform, and that's where the most learning can be done. We're pushing.
How much brush you got done?
Last night, they just even my roots won't come us. Like everybody said, one of the last week we had a couple more ups. It was at 9 degrees at night.
Yeah.
That's just you get every freezing weather, and you may have 6 inches, 10 inches of okay, but down deep you're trouble.
How many times do I ask you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions for Mr. Alden?
Yeah.
If not, we'll move on to the next item, which is public acknowledgement on agenda items, 2 minutes per speaker. Mr. Medina.
Tony Medina, village resident. I just want to express my support for that resolution, the resolution for the proposing the public act 233. This is a great overreach of government by the state of Michigan and moving renewable energy things into unity. Other might have the local control and the majority of the people know about this type of stuff. Solar power, solar panels and, windmills. I don't think windmills would be too popular around here, but you'll never know where they try to pull because, they're 155 meters sunlight and they're trying to put a 500 acre solar panel over field around big towns now, but. Just want to express my support and encourage you guys to pass the resolution.
Thank you, Tony. Tony. Anybody else have a public comment on anything? Yeah. Okay, next item, the DPW report.
Good evening, everyone. I think we kind of covered the lot run. That was certainly it's still over. If everything continues to warm up like it is, probably by the end of this month, hopefully be able to lift it. We'll just have to see what it shows as we go into the manholes and see how deep it actually is. Some great news, I think. The new generator at the main left. It's now fully functional as of February 26th. All the crews were out there, got some done, and the old generator, we were going to try to take it down. We talked last week a little bit about that. We want to take the old generator that was there and move it down to Plymouth Street. It won't be an automatic generator. We'll have to manually go and flip it on. We did verify with RCL when they were out. They looked it over as well as the Cummins rep. It can be converted to a 480 volt and it can work down there. With the gentleman from Cummins, one of the things that he suggested was we were thinking maybe put a propane tank down there for it. It would have to be converted over to propane. He talked about that it may cost you more than what to convert it for propane than what it would cost you to get gas down there. The other thing is when you're running a propane on a generator, they're not as efficient. So at that point, while we had a few guys from DTE down there, we ran them down, we looked at it. I've got calls out right now. We're in the process of doing a quote. Where that property is at down on Brooks, there's a main on each corner. So it might even be a couple or something to get a gas line brought in, but we won't move the generator down there until the springtime when the pad board get moved down there and then get RCL out and they'll rewire it and do everything they gotta do. That'll be something happening towards the future. Also, as far as the generator goes, on March 4th, I met with representatives from Place and Vandenbrink and the USDA. And because that was the holdup on that whole big project was getting that generator done. We went through, USDA took pictures, they think everything's good. Everything goes right. The project, that grant, will be finalized by the end of this month. And we'll be done with that.
Nice.
We talked a little bit about that last month. If you remember, I said I got a quote from Willis to take that elevator out. It was $19,600. I reached out to Coney Elevator. There's only, from what I can tell, there's only a couple of elevator companies around. Unfortunately, with Coney, and it's probably the same with the Otis, but we fall into the Detroit district of plumbing. So that's where they got to come out. But they did. That's what I was going to talk about tonight. We were waiting on hearing from them yet. I did get the quote from them late Friday afternoon. Their quote to no one is removing the elevator. They're going to lower it for the instant level. Basement isn't the right word, but open the door shut up top, decommission it, take the hydraulic line out, and drain the oil. We will still have the rest of the stuff that we need to get rid of if we want. There's no value in that elevator to try to sell to somebody. 750-pound capacity elevator, and it's not a lot bigger than if you double the size of this. But Coney, their estimate came in at $12,243. So we can save ourselves about $8,000 roughly, just under. And I think I said this again last month, with the and 2 inspections that have to be done on that elevator every year, and the state licensing. You're talking almost $5,000 a year we've been paying for an elevator that has never got used. And we don't have to have it, there's nothing for ADA compliance that said we have to have it. My suggestion, if the board wants to, is we get that elevator out of there. Within 2.5 years, we'll not pay for what it's gonna cost us to get it out. We'll have some room for storage and stuff down in the plant, so what I'd like to do when I finish here, got the estimate from Tony. I'd like to bring up, got it already.
Yes, sir.
I'll help. I'm not sure honestly on that one, if that one needs board approval to spend that much money on that budget. Does need my signature.
Doug, I put that on, we added that to the agenda, this so it's a motion. So
Okay. Okay,
So it's under new business.
okay. I heard you say Coney, I thought you said something else after that, but. So.
That's why I have it.
Is that something that they have to certify as decommissioned?
Yes.
It is, so
No.
then you could remove it?
Yes, once they're done, we can do whatever we want to do around the. Yeah, the door upstairs, they look that shut when the first thing they do after they lower it is they bolt that shut. And then once it's lowered, you pull all the state licensing panels off of everything, decommission it where it can't be used at all, and then we can do what we need to do. There may be something that we possibly look and see if there's a resale possibly out of the. But with my understanding, I believe that elevator was put in 1992.
Oh,
So I'm not sure what
a lot of
the usefulness is of that. And also that, again, we're trying to piece it together, but when the plant was built, that was under USDA grant at that time. And it was a requirement from the USDA that we were going. So. As far as reporting goes for Eagle on the fire system, monitoring schedule, there were a couple of reports that were due by March 31st. I had already submitted these at the beginning of the week. Reports, our rust connection report, a pumpage report, and a service line replacement report, which kind of ties in hand with what we have on the ground. We have to do at least 5% of our replacement lines every year. So we knew we had the numbers were 57. We knew for sure we needed replacement on. We actually replaced 7 lines last year. Got them away from no lines are lead. We have found nothing of lead in the damage. The galvanized does now have to be replaced. So we had identified 7 different areas that were galvanized. We replaced those. We're well above the 5%. We're going to we started looking at this year again, possibly doing another 5 lines every year for this year. Thought process and Anthony, I could probably speak to it way better than we could, but that land grant doesn't look like that's coming back right. But going forward, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of communities with water systems that are not going to be on top of getting their minimum done every year. And at some point, whether state or federal level, they're going to have to step up and say, we understand you guys need the money. We're going to put some grants out there to help you out. So we're trying to do the bare minimum, the cheapest amount in our villages right now, but we're also addressing emergency repairs if something happens, automatically get switched over. And like I talked about 2 or 3 months ago, even we are no longer replacing with copper. We're replacing with plastic line improved. And if you remember right, a coil of 100 foot 3/4 copper, it's like $866. 300 or 100 foot of 3/4 inch plastic, 38 bucks. So going forward, we should have some pretty good savings on that stuff too. So those three reports are done into the Eagle. The next report that will be due for Eagle is the 2024 Consumer Confidence Report for the water system. That has to be done every year. It has to be done by July 1st. And what has to happen by July 1st, it needs to be submitted to Eagle, to the local health department. And also either you send out or it has to be available for your billable residents on the water system. And what we've always done with parents and welcome these, we put the notice in the papers like here to do. And the report will be here available, and that'll also be online. Then I want to like to wait to July 1st deadlines. That report I finished last Thursday. I'm just going through it, redoing a few things. And once I find the reason that we shouldn't, I want to get that submitted to Eagle first, get their approval on it, and then do that. Get it up to the health department right away. So, couple last things, Congress filed with that last week. So we can get some that and way the weather warms up more and it heats it up a little better. And then we're just continuing to prepare equipment for the summertime.
Yes, sir. Talking about compost, do we never get a tractor or we haven't yet? The gentleman that I was inquiring about buying this, his mother, he was watching the bill and it took a lot of attention from it. I said, well, when you get ready, let me know. And I just heard it this weekend on the passing way. So maybe this spring he says tractor's still for sale, stuff like that.
So, the company's helping you first of April, the company.
Mother Nature, well, yes. It's all April through October is going out.
Will that be your same kind of thing like last year again?
Yeah, yes. But when we open up, we'll have it up. Yeah.
And we'll at the same time, we'll also coordinate what we're doing for spring leaf pickup and everything and get it out. And it can get it out to the residents. You know, it's a tough letter. Sure, all that. I mean, this is personally my own opinion. I feel there should kind of be a time limit along some dates, whether it's a month, another half, and what you're going to do for pickup. You can't guarantee the date you're going to get out there, but the time frame that it happens. Because otherwise, what happens is one pickup leaves in April 15th, and all of a sudden somebody's calling Tammy in the middle of June that they just got the leaves out down.
Can't be nice
And we do it. We go all different, but something that we might look at a little bit of time, put a little time frame into it and maybe create a little.
And questions for Doug? If not, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, next item is Economic Director Report, Mr. Perry.
Good after, good evening, good afternoon, beautiful, it's all still shining. You think it's 50 degrees today, it's something 58. So I'm going to briefly, even though Mr. Alden mentioned the addition to the agenda regarding the social district applications by Green's Tavern. If you remember earlier in the year, we did the full-blown municipality application and we've been accepted by Michigan Liquor Control to have social district starting this summer. And we're targeting the last weekend in May to debut the social district. But we have to have at least two sponsoring bars. And we've done two, Greens and Threads at the moment. And hopefully really soon a third brewery. But these applications, when each of those bars have to make their own application to be part of the social district as well. And part of that application is simply a resolution by the council that says, yeah, green is okay. We like they can do this. And there's no hidden agendas there, no hooks or anything. Why do we have to do this or anything else? It's just the part of the Michigan Liquor Control
application process that, the village council passed a resolution for each business that applies. So in April, we're gonna be coming at you with two more, which will be the Fred's application and the Irish Hill application. And so we'll have three to debut the social district in May. The small business support hub based out of Gaylord and, not being completely working with Saginaw Valley State University. They have been granted $425,000 for our 6 county area. It's additional COVID money. It's for small businesses to do pretty much what they want with it if it's a good idea. And they split the 6 counties into percentages by population. And Otsego County will receive the lion's share, but the lion's share is only 25% of that money. And right behind Otsego County is Roscommon County at 23%. They really didn't realize how that close in population with Otsego County. So that means there'll be 98,000 and change to give out to businesses in Roscommon County. When I say give out, I don't mean it that way, but this is one of those grants that is somewhat competitive, but also somewhat, if you meet all these criteria, you'll likely get it. And so if there are 98 businesses that apply in the county, then they'll each get $1,000. If what they're applying for is a decent idea. If one business applies, they don't get 98,000. I think the cap is 22,000 or something like that. And so, if you know somebody has a small business, the business has to have been in operation during COVID, leftover COVID money. And so, I'm shooting this across your bow because one of the requirements is in order to apply for this grant, the owner or agent of the owner has to attend one of 6 workshops that are hour and a half long, virtually. But you have to attend, you have to pass a really easy, short, like 10-question quiz, and you get the stamp of approval that you attended that workshop, which is one of the boxes that you check on the grant. And so the grant actually doesn't commence until August, with a deadline at the end of August.
September.
I mean, it starts.
The application's open September, sorry.
Oh, I have application deadline August 31st.
I thought they said September. Anyway, it's not till the end of September.
It's later.
Later, yeah. Sorry.
And this shows the. Anyway, we'll talk. The grant is for later in the summer, between August and September. We can figure out what we want. So let's. All right, moving on. The Chamber of Commerce Business to Business Breakfast is this Thursday. Generally, it's business owners coming, exchanging ideas. We quite often get community members that will talk about events that are going on in our community. But it's relatively sparsely attended, but it is open to anybody that wants to attend and know what's going on with our small businesses that are here. Right here, right here, 8 a.m. March 13th. On April 17th, we are hosting the Roscommon Townships Association bi-monthly, what's every other month? Bi-monthly meeting. Anyway, we're hosting that on April 17th, and it's significant because the Roscommon Townships Association is 11 townships, and the village of Roscommon attends, and we continue, so we don't have a vote. And so I have petitioned to be a part of the Roscommon Townships Association meeting. If you are willing and available, April 17th, to sit in support of our petition to be a part of that organization, please reach out to me at 10 a.m. Thursday, April 17th. I don't need a crowd of people. I don't want to overwhelm them, but having more than just me there.
Is that here? Where is that?
That's also right. in this room.
I'll be bringing cookies.
And some cookies.
At the same time, as we would have one for the manager and we're gonna family meeting.
Yeah,
So between that room and this one,
we're gonna make it work.
first come first serve, yeah.
We're gonna work through coffee, donuts and stuff. So it should be so.
Right, it's just out.
Not necessarily.
A couple more light items, the senior banners, the senior graduating class of 2025, as we've been doing the last several years, the village, orders banners with all of their senior pictures on them and their names and so forth. Those are generally paid for by parents at a cost of $35 per person, per senior. And the DDA very generously makes up the difference if there are some kids that can't afford those banners are being ordered by the seniors right now. There are a number of seniors who have not contacted me or the class president, Ashley Franker. Ashley Franker.
Kendall.
What?
And no progress.
Oh, right. The sister. Kendall Franker. So if you're no senior and they have not ordered a banner, have them reach out to the need or to each friend. Lastly, the globe. The blue and gold wrestling team was a big hit. Everybody enjoyed that. And that's what's right around the corner.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's. So you can expect that those globes will turn green and pop white in the coming week. Other questions?
Anything for Mr. Perrellis on tomorrow? Any guesstimate on your building,
On the brewery?
Yeah.
Late April, we're thinking today was a landmark day, we brought the brewing tanks in, they came from China, it was a long trip. We still stuck in customs, we still have a keg washer that's stuck in Canadian customs. And so we might be able to serve beer, we can't clean those kegs quite yet.
so you're the cause of those tariffs.
Yeah. I'm just looking at yeah, we're really not here.
Talk, Ruby knows.
Late April, we're thinking. Thank you.
Next on the list is Chicken Bird's city resolution, Amanda. You're up.
Before we move on from the economic development one, can I speak on just a couple items not for the council? Sure. And have a few things too. Since I'm on that team, so just to give you a real brief update, we kicked off our public art program. We had our first public art committee meeting for several weeks at time. Thank you. Last week we had 6 people that attended that meeting, and we had 10 respondents for our survey online. So we had 16 people provide public input to that. So we had a good discussion talking about what do we want to see out of public art? How do we want, what kind of guidelines do we want to see? And then we looked at all the initiatives that we had ideas around, and we started going down and we thought, well, there's a way we could do this one, there's a way we could do this one. So there's a lot of them that we can actually hit. We're going to be talking to the next week about a mural grant program. Some more to come on that potentially, based on what they say. We are going to go for crowdfunding on it will be the state's and possibly the world's largest Kirtland warbler. That we want to do a crowdfunding effort to see if we can get funding in time to have permission in place by Kirtland warbler requests, which could be pretty fantastic. Just so you guys can see the artist level of work. And I will be reaching out because we'll be doing fundraising on that here shortly. So more to come on that, but we're going to be hitting that bird for the next 30 to 45 days about. Also, we have 2 things on walking paths. One, Walking paths lined with art was something that came up on the public art survey. So kind of two things along those lines. One, there was, lined with art, but a grant that came up for what we ended up submitting on for walking path, extending for Metro Park, kind of going out from behind an outlot through to, village outlet through to Division Road on the back side of the park there to create more access. So that's, yeah, an AARP, it's a national grant. We threw our hat in the ring, see what we get, potentially back on that. And then also at Metro Park for walking paths, we have an idea from an art perspective, and school partnerships was something that also came up, in the art, feedback. And so we have a working idea. There's a grant active right now that's due at the end of the month. It's called Put Your Town on the Map, and that's actually sponsored by consumers, as well as CEDAM, which is actually the organization I technically work for on the back end, and then I'm placed in Roscommon. So I have, got a little bit of action there, essentially. So we're thinking of an idea and also open to other ideas that could be great. It's something that's kind of unique, interesting that will put us on the map. This idea that we have is kind of a storybook arts trail. We have a storybook trail itself is like having a children's book, basically, like kind of the pages throughout. We're thinking we have an audio element to it where we read aloud the book. We could partner with the Literacy Council on that, and then we also have kind of painted art posts that would line it, as well as potentially some micro art galleries. And we could have the high school and Kirtland's community college students maybe do a competition for that they could get their art place. That's the working idea we have for that one right now. But like I said, open to other ideas. If anybody has them, let me know. All ears. Also we got new art stuff. And another thing that I wanted to just give you a heads up on, we talked a bit about May. Jim highlighted a few things happening. There's quite a lot happening in May, actually, from a village standpoint, which I think is pretty awesome. On May 10th in particular, there's the classic. There's going to be a migratory bird day celebration at the Hagen. There's the cleanup, the village day. There's also wake up the garden, volunteer day at the community garden. And so if you're thinking kind of, who are we in Roscommon? Kind of what do we do? How are we represented? It was like all of the things kind of started to happen on that day. And I thought that was pretty cool from, recreation, from volunteerism, from the community pride that we had around everything. And so the idea to commission AAO Media, who's a local guy who's out of St. Helens. He's done work for the community race before. He's a really excellent videographer. And so we have we're going to get a branding video, like a village branding video shot on that day. And then probably the day the social district and farmers market is going on, they'll come back. And he's going to actually give us two videos. One that'll have some interviews. So I will be reaching out to some people to be on the interview script list. And then one that's like just a 90-second kind of overlay with music video. So, and with the action shots. So I thought that was kind of a cool opportunity that we can kind of get the community and active events going on captured. We could start to use that some of our marketing. That's what I had from the economic side. Any questions on that?
Sounds good. So we got a lot of work there.
We're rocking and rolling. Yeah, and then bird study, back to talk about birds. DBA, when we talked to them about it, they actually voted to fund the bird city application. For your awareness. And so we're here tonight to hopefully get a resolution passed or motion on that. And again, just to remind everybody what that is, essentially that's putting us into a network of global communities. We have our webpage built out, our application essentially pre-approved. We need the resolution and the payment to finalize that. And that's going to be essentially very, very cheap marketing as well, $200 a year for us. Our events that we have going on, like that World Migratory Day, and there's like the Kirkland Warbler tours. There's also the Warbler Festival. All those kind of things go on there and plugged into. Basically, there's like a map that gets pulled up, and birders are going to go bird. Kirtland's Warbler is a rare bird, and so we're hoping we can attract some bird tourism and as well as celebrate all the bird conservation activities that we have going on. And I'm still low-key on the side, trying to see if we can qualify for this high flyer status that they have. So far, this is just normal. High flyer status one will require these, CAT actions that we just don't have proof on, but we have 20 actions, which is what you need for that. I gave them that feedback and let's see if we can get a special designation, but this is just for the regular bird city right now. Yeah, any questions, I'm here for it, otherwise, what you guys see is in the resolution.
Any questions for me? A resolution package, would mean that we will be one of the first two bird cities in Michigan, and we don't know if we will be first or second.
We'll be second. Thank you for reminding that. Yeah, we will be second. But we're the first, I would say, real community, like outside, basically we're playing with the big ones. Oakland County is the first one that technically got approved just a couple of weeks ago. So I think the village of Roscommon, Oakland County. I think should have our way. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking for a motion for the bird city. Michigan Bird City resolution.
Well, let's see, I make the motion to approve the resolution to make the village of Roscommon a Michigan bird city.
We got a first, second, any more discussion?
I think it's one very exciting, very good.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
There you go.
Any, we're the only village that has a college named after. Oakland may be the first, but. You know,
Any more discussion? If not, can I get a roll call, please?
Mitchell,
yes.
Ready.
Yeah.
Schmickel.
Yeah.
Edward.
Yeah.
Ledley,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Keto,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay,
Resolution.
Thank you. You're making the most classic. Last weekend.
new business. Zoning change resolution for M18 property.
Okay, this is one of the final steps, or it is the final step, to the mixed development property or the property from street to rear, it was between, Vita and the propane, facility. That front through there is all highway commercial, and we wanted to change that to mixed development. And I got the map right over here. This area here, mixed development, and by putting mixed development, we can put in housing in there. And having commercial, we cannot. So we have met, this met last week with Redstone, who was getting more and more excited about this project, where they have all ready and started drawing up phase 2, which is doubling the number of rental units and adding more townhouses, adding more houses. So we again, we're still working on some of the details and such, but this would allow us to put housing in the front. And so you get a chance to come on back and take a look at this one change that we had made at our last meeting. At the end of the strip there, there's a Yale Road. And Yale Road, you know, it's just a little 2-track. It's a county road. And so originally we had talked about, you know, developing that into a gravel road and going into the back. Redstone came up and said, well, why don't, let's leave that the way it is. Let's put the road here where we have a utility easement, because we have to maintain the utilities anyway. So let's put the road here and property to the south of it and still have access off that road. It saves a little bit when you look at infrastructure, you know, it might be 300 to 400 feet less of room you have to put in or water or sewer or whatever. So they're talking about having this come through, you come down in here and move everything and that. But with this here, they would kind of go to lot number 8 and 9, right through, you know, what they originally want to do. So when we had, we also involved police and Vandenberg, and the thing that is later on in the agenda. And can't say that this is rare, but it happens from time to time. EC Vandenberg is our engineering firm that we use for our projects. And and Redstone would like to use them too. So there's a lot of benefits of having a common engineer, but there could be some common too. So we'll talk about that later on in the agenda, but this zoning change is crucial for these 60 units of housing that would be welcome.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the resolution that changes the zone from highway commercial to mixed development on the south to 18 property.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the nice thing about having that mixed development, you know, if the store want to go in and buy land and put some in, that still says, it just allows us, right now, the housing would have them all in the back, and the houses have housing closer to the road. Okay.
Might be like a laundromat, for instance.
It's a business, claim, yeah.
Well, I got a question as well. Are they gonna keep all of that 2 acres with that police property? Is that what it's gonna be, or are they gonna be cut down?
It is not surveyed.
Not certain.
All things-
So the lines that we have here are not.
Those lines are just something we just came up with, and came up with those lines. And why we didn't, later and, more recent side lots, is we were looking at what's the cheapest way to separate infrastructure. You know, the mobile camera, yeah, so that took with that map was kind of jittery. Because if you start putting loops in and different things, I mean, you're gonna go from 1.2 million to $2 million very quickly, you know. So we looked at, okay, where we put this, you have the proper required number of fire hydrants and things like that, and so that was the scale that we came up with.
Okay. So for further action, when we do this to promote a motion, we have to get the motion first before I get next one. So we could do that, please.
Can I make the motion to approve the resolution that changes the zoning of the highway commercial development on the M18 property?
I got a first, I got a second, please. Second. Okay. Now, we have to do.
My comments in this,
If there's no more discussion, can I get a roll call?
Ludwig,
yes.
Bishop,
Yeah.
Miller.
Yeah.
Snuffle,
Yeah.
Kegel,
Yes.
Edward.
Yeah.
Ready.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next item is DDA nomination Jordan.
Jordan has reached out to me on a couple of occasions, came in a couple of times to talk to us about being a member, and joining the DDA and what the procedures. I thought that's not the application for you. But he is a business owner in town. He bought the formal for my son, place here, just past the Burger Bear, and, energetic young man that wants to be a part of the village.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to award the vacant DDA position to Jordan Hall, business owner of the village of Rocktown. Can I get a first on that, please?
I make a motion to award the vacant DDA position to Jordan Hoff, who is authority in the village of Rossington.
Can I get a second?
Okay.
Okay, I got a first and second. Any discussion?
I have a question. So it goes back to kind of how these systems are being built. I guess I just need clarification again at which thing we are following, because the last with the planning commission, we kind of started with the RRC outline. And then when I asked about some of the processes, it was, well, in the MML general law, it states that the manager fills the vacancies of non-elected officials. But then we came to the meeting
and had the two applicants' things in front of us. They had been interviewed, and then we had a recommendation from the planning commission, which isn't in either of these policies. And I know like reappointments, I didn't find any guiding documents on how reappointments should be done, because I know that like the reappointments, I guess in my opinion, that there are people that have already been on and are just asking to like get back, like stay on. But with these new vacant, I guess I'm just confused at which, are we going in with the MML general law, which states that the manager fills the vacancies with the council consent, which at that point, we really wouldn't need any of the other stuff, or are we going, if we're going to do the RRC, then we would have to follow the guideline of the RRC document. So I just, again, this is another one that's like kind of a little bit of here and a little bit of there, so it just doesn't make sense what we're doing.
For me.
I don't know. I guess.
What I've done for the last 7 years, and I think I said in the last month, I'll post a position, advertise a position, and it depends what position it is. In this case, it does need council approval because the DDA is under your umbrella. You know, they have a budget and that allocated and such. We get the groundwork done to make a recommendation to you, and that's kind of what I've been following the last 7 years now. So anyway, for the answer question, I just.
This position then did get posted. Yes. Like it was, okay, so that's, I guess, where I'm confused with. If we're following the MML general law, then it, like. This says the manager fills the vacancies. The RRC guideline is the one that says that it gets posted. So if we're posting it and following this guideline, why are we not following this guideline all the way through? And I understand I know that you have said, you know, I do this, I've done this for the last 6.5, 7 years. But that's all that's telling me is that no one's really like looked and said, hey, this doesn't add up for the last 6 or 7 years. But so that's just where, I mean, that's just, I guess, where I'm confused is if we're following this and doing the postings in the paper, then shouldn't we follow this completely? Versus posting in the paper and then going back to the manager fills the vacancies, which actually didn't even happen with the planning commission vacancy. That got recommended to us by the planning commission after they did interviews, which is not part of either of these policies.
Do you see that would get a different result by doing it one way or the other?
I do feel like we would get. So if we followed the RRC, the whole thing, we, the people that end up making the decision, would be we would have the information prior to the appointment, and I believe we're part of the information will be gathered by the village manager and forwarded to the village council for consideration. So I guess we wouldn't actually have sat down and talked with them, but we could have looked through their stuff. Like we came to the meeting last time and had them in front of us, but like that didn't really give us time to like look through them and consider if this is, I guess if this is the only person that applies, then the outcome probably isn't going to be any different. But if we have more, and we have the ability to look at it prior to a meeting, and at that point, if we wanted to reach out to the candidates, I feel like that would be appropriate to talk with them one-on-one. But yeah, I feel like, yes, in the situation where you've got more than one candidate, it would make a difference, I feel like, but in this situation, though, but I just, that's just my thing is like, I don't understand why we're kind of taking bits and pieces. I feel like we should follow one or the other.
It hasn't been, easy finding people. They just don't show up in droves.
Yeah.
So, okay. We'll bring your idea back and we'll have to, as a council, go through what we want to determine how to create a nomination for this fall spring one. Since the village law has just been updated this year, we just got the new book. And RFP is what we've been following by, because that's what we adopted to go by. So we'll have to get together as a council and determine which way we want to go with that.
Thank you.
So at this point now with the DDA nominees, I have a person second. Any more discussion? If not, roll call please.
Michael,
Yes.
Smichael,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yeah,
Miller.
Yeah.
Bishop,
yeah,
Hill,
Yes.
Orange, yeah. Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item is Roscommon Area Recreation Association Metro Park Project. This is Jeff.
It's short.
I'm sorry. Whatever. I'm sure everybody knows what it is.
Short time. Thanks for giving us some time tonight. I know that, probably seeing this on the agenda, seems like it never goes away, so like Hiawatha. These large projects are cursed and this has been going on for 3 years. We submitted this grant back in 2023 and got awarded, funding. We have received a land water conservancy grant from the state of Michigan for $820,000. It's a lot of money for authority that doesn't, our. Sorry, we rotate that and we must all of it. And so we do not, function off a millage. We are self-sustaining with, the entities that have with our operating budget, which isn't a lot. $38,000 is our operating budget, but we drew up this plan and started planning process. We already currently have invested $60,000 in engineering costs, down payments on some of the stuff that we went, but this is the final plan. This will change the entire context of the park, with the exception of the two ball fields. The playground that you see here is a mixed area. It's been moved up front to have easy access and through traffic. If anybody's ever been there during Little League season, you know that people must lose their life in that parking lot. We have a 6-foot paved path that goes around the perimeter of the park, and what Amanda was talking about with that one grant and come in connection to the backside through the village owned health lot, roughly to Division Street. To encourage walkable community and during your time. We had, actually this was Don Dixon's contribution, commenting when we were taking input that we have a lot of walkable community, but we don't have a lot of free walkable community. So this is Bill with that in mind. That will be very pretty next to the and then come across. We added in the basketball covered shade sitting. So this is 35 foot. Take a picture of that. It's your packet. But we went with, rather than having stick built, we went with like a sail shade construction by Skyway. This is something that has a heat system, so you just trim the edge and it pops the canvas off, so you can take it on and off. It's not something that you need to do, but with an investment like this, for a couple hours work taking them off, you definitely will get, longevity out of them. They have some of these down in outstate of Florida, and they're still up 20 years later. So Which kind of, manufactured surface has longevity. And then we're adding shaded area here, another one in the playground area, and then the pump track. So that sort of rounds out the amenities in this. As you know, our 5-year recreation plan that was turned into the state of Michigan, these things were all in that plan submitted to the state of Michigan, safe walking, safe biking, 1 and 2, and that is exactly the same as what the state of Michigan has on their top tier. Nothing for kids to do that comes up repetitively, and everybody in this room knows that our kids lack outlet for some of these things. If you walk in town, you'll find 4 basketball rims on side streets right now. So, and pretty soon you'll be seeing their skateboards downtown. So we did this with this in mind. Rounding with my scrolling up a little bit. Just so we can show the others here sideways, but one more. There you go. So this is the type of covered surface that we'll have in the center of the park. We're going to decide on a color theme, and then the two will sort of look like a cantilevered over by the pump track and then playground area. But this is 35 square, 35 feet. So that's nice. And then we got to hit the benchmarks with recycled stuff from the state of Michigan. So these are our trash cans and benches. But you have a whole lot of excess stuff. You don't need to know what we submitted to the state of Michigan is 148 pages long. We are right now in the reviewing process. We suspect that we're going to be getting that back within the next couple of weeks, and the project will go out to bid. Our timeline is the Fay Little League gets out of them. Sort of, have people committed to that area for a while. So as soon as they get out, that this project will be done and completed this year. So I additionally gave you, we just got this, after I gave Ron our thing, I'll show you. Here's a picture of our pump truck. And if you want to just, the village coverage has some, but there's extra copies. These are found throughout the world, but not in northern Michigan. Closest one is North Lansing. This allows any wheel, non-motorized wheels, amenities, skateboard, scooter, bicycle, pedal bike, pump bike, doesn't matter, can access this. And Amanda, can you turn that in? I have just 2 minutes. So what I want to, and this is new, actually, I had never seen it until today. I was looking for something to show you. So I didn't set you up. I didn't know that they had a kid in a wheelchair in this ad that they had. So not that we need volume for this, but this kid is in a wheelchair. My grandson's in a wheelchair. We have an intermediate school district here. These kids, have access to something that has universal access for all. You'll see that, these little kids on their little bikes. My grandkids live in Johnson City, Tennessee. They have pump bikes, the little 10-inch ones, and they go independently on much bigger tracks, ones that look like this, down there, and they're 4 and 5 years old. So it will show you that this is amenable for all age groups, any level of. So ours is like this. Can I add something, Sue?
Yes.
Cause we were down, there's one outside of Detroit too, and when we were there one day, and there's BMX bikers there, and then me and my kids were there, and they were on their striders, and we were sharing a pump truck, we were all able to use it, the same, you know, the way that we were each.
Like, I just want to be sure.
So if you notice, these kids use this bike, not by pedaling, but by a pumping motion. It's momentum. So they use this other bike to do it. Okay. But
You can pedal if you want.
yeah, you can pedal if you want, but if you notice, these kids will.
If you're watching the Olympics, on the bicycles, it's similar.
Yeah, Red Bull competition. They
Bike races.
so that's our park in so we're short funding. And I know that you guys did your 2025 budget, but when you had discussion and if you find your way to help with a little after Hiawatha, it would be appreciated.
So just curious, what are they charging them to the bench?
$800.
Crazy.
You know, Todd, that this whole process drove me crazy because I know that I could have that cheaper. You know, we could put up those awnings ourselves. We can get these cheaper. But you know what? I've done that for 10 years and I'm not doing it anymore. And this is state funded. They had the requirements for a reason. I'm not here to tell you why. I follow what they mandate you to do. And the only thing we could get recycled was because we would have a whole lot of other, you know, amenities. But I can tell you that when this is done, we're gonna have two of the best parks in several miles, hands down. We'll have to go to many communities to try and run it right.
So how much are you short?
Well, right now, they have $70,000 worth of grants out there, and you know, it's change season right now. It's supposed to right ahead of time because I have never worked with federal government and getting money before. This is federal money that is given to the state and then they're the grant managers, but so I got $70,000 out in grant funding right now. I can tell you that $100,000. And the craft center, we have throughout the past year and a half, have $60,000 that we paid out. And right now we have, looking at our bank account again, we've got about 150 to 170 depending, for the project. That is just revenues that we squirreled and saved, you know, from that building. We put $380,000 in that building over the last 8 years, just in renovation and plumbing and remodeling and all the stuff that we needed there. And so now we had to. But I'll also tell you the next barrier is we need a heating system next door because we have old boilers and our heat expense is $24,000 a year. So we have to, you know, we're actively looking at all these sources trying to hit these financial marks. So pretty exciting. I didn't think I'd ever see it be completed, but it's gonna be done this summer. Or high wires.
Well, can you go back to the original, the bird's eye view drawing for a second, please? Yeah, it's a little tipped, but now it's the orange square in the top third.
Down here?
Say. Yes, that one's live. We gotta have road access to that. You cannot. I mean, you've got stuff going in there every day of the week.
So your road access is here.
But it
Right back
doesn't
there.
go up. Okay, and we'll have something going right to the well. Okay,
Just didn't draw it.
okay, so I just wanted to make sure because
Should mess up our plan.
consumers trucks, you can have large, that's.
Yeah.
We need to make sure.
So this,
We don't, I don't wanna make it where it ruins a pump time.
Yeah, no.
Awesome.
no, but we have, this is, possibly phase 2, and so this is aggregate and then goes right up.
Okay.
there.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
But I will tell you, come by one day and I see this way up there, and it's a well. As wells, that gave me a heart attack.
Will the, playground and stuff be the same as there, just move back, or is it all new equipment also?
The playground,
Where the playground?
that's where the playground is, right here. It's only 10 years old.
Oh, yeah. All right, I was looking at.
Parking lot there too, you know.
But yeah, so, yeah, the parking lot being here. So what's nice about that is, we have 38 here, they can access the trail, pump track, and flexible format, and me over here, to access this area. And, yeah. And then we've Presbyterian Church at Lake Forest in Illinois. They do a service job every year. And they say at Camp Westminster, they're gonna be renovating our concession stand. So, yeah. Let's throw into that. So happy with that deal. So they come and when these kids graduate from high school, they actually have a here and then work. So they're for the entire work, they're going to be doing the vinyl, plate shove, replacing the floor that nobody can open but me, and then some roof on the shed.
So the new parking lot, will that eliminate the parking on the side of the roads? By the ball field, so we don't have access?
Not.
Yeah, some people just don't park there.
That's what I'm gonna park there, just because.
That's
Because they're at the walk. So that's, yeah. So you're 30,000 short? No. For 70, then it'll go down. No, I have $7,000 of grants that are not awarded. Okay. Well, those are kind of.
I don't know, I was just sure about this 3 years ago, whatever, we had to think of that little water park.
Yes.
That's not even doable, is it?
Oh, it is. It's doable.
In the future, maybe?
So, to be honest, if I would have anything, that's what I would have.
Okay.
However, I'm wrestling with the fact that it's not environmentally friendly. You're wasting a lot of water. And when they originally told us that deal and we calculated the water usage, something just wasn't making. And so now with Alpena and Beaverton, I got their plans, their designs, I got their flows from theirs. And then I took our flow and what we had, and they're using almost 2 million gallons of water a summer. So not only can we not afford that, it's not environmentally conscious. So the other option is having a recirculation system. And you can do that, it'll cost $100,000 more to add to your project. Those 2 projects, I don't know what Alpena is doing because they don't have room, but Chelsea Everton's thinking of, or when I last talked about putting in a recirculation system. The problem with that is that we have a very minimal budget, operating budget.
Right.
And, pay somebody to sample every day, is something that we have to take into
It's like seriously like chlorinated water.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're looking at, it's a half hour, 15 minutes to a half hour of work every day. But it's something that has to be done every day.
Yeah.
So.
Where there was questions for this?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
And I do want to, with community cleanup. Just a heads up, the time has changed from 1 until 3. It's in the afternoon, it's after the Q grades. So once they got, yeah,
Or what?
the 10th, May 10th.
Have these old.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Okay, next on the item is police and Vanderbilt water and sewer improvements for $1,794.75.
Yeah, this is just one of the, hopefully getting things and, their voice is showing off it for, assistant here and, the one Snell referred to earlier, Brad, the closing part of the USDA project, which was the $12.5 million project, and so close some things out. Entertainment makes sure to create us.
Can I get a motion that the police and Vanderbilt water and sewer improvement for $1,794.75, please?
I'll make the motion to pay for the invoice. Please convey the break water and sewer improvement for $1,794.75.
Bring you a second, please. Yeah, for a second, any more discussion? If not, roll call.
Words.
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yeah.
Smeckle. Yeah. Keel.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item is police and Vanderbilt Redstone Towing.
Really was clear earlier, with this Redstone Halton project, we're looking at sharing the same engineer. And Redstone's good with it, police and Vanderbilt is good with it, they wanna make sure we're good with it. I really don't see any drawbacks. I mean, there could be, a conflict that comes up down the line. Police and Vanderbilt wants to make sure that we know that if it does get to an end, they represent us first. Okay. And,
That's in the contract.
well, that, in that agreement that they're drawing up, yeah. It's after, for the rent of their office, it just went up drastically. But that's all we've been discussed. They would like to have a motion to show that we are aware of that, police and Vanderbilt is going to be, representing both parties in the project and that, the village is comfortable with that setup at this time.
So we're looking for a motion to approve the police and Vanderbilt the contract with Redstone Construction while working with the village of Roscommon M18 house. Can I get a motion, please?
I make the motion to approve Lease and Vanderbrink to contract with Redstone Construction while working with the village of Roscommon and our MHDMs and project.
I have a first, can I get a second, please?
No second.
The first and the second, any more discussion?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So I would think we would want to see some type of a process that said if there is a disagreement or there is something that appears to be in conflict with the village, that there should be a process that information is brought to the council. In form of discussion, right? Maybe the president to discuss the advantages, disadvantages. Right, if there's a conflict, then they're going to be, the tie goes to the village. I think there's a process that we would be presented for that.
Well, they haven't drawn up, an agreement yet. They wanted to see how council feels about it first of all. But that is, we had talked about that all being part of that agreement, getting into the tiebreaker.
Yeah, right.
Sort of scenario.
I can see it, right? There's room for, I wouldn't say negligence, but room for, right?
Yeah.
And, there's, maybe they have deeper pockets than we have. And so I think there has to be some type of checks and balances.
So what would that look like?
Example.
So like, first, before,
See some of the language, right? So how's that language, how they're written, maybe even some form of reading review.
So we won't have an agreement already. I think that's reasonable, not, or do you think that we would review or go over that contract to see how, it's a.
I don't think that would hurt anything at all. All of it, we are concerned that we heard that out at our last meeting, but they haven't ready,
I mean, were redacted or something, and there was some proprietary information that needed to be redacted.
All right, I don't. That's one word. So come on,
So this one, should we table that?
That sound reasonable?
That sounds reasonable to me. That's actually
Hey,
exactly
do
what
you
I
want to take your motion up, Kim? Maureen?
Sure.
We'll table this next month. Judgment now.
That's, yeah. That's very much exactly.
Okay, next item is economic development plan 25 to 2030. This is.
So, gonna try to make this quick, yeah. I was given the economic development plan to review. And I got together with Mr. Perry Ellis and Amanda. Mrs. Winchester, I thought it was gonna be easy. Amanda and Jim. They were basically just went through, Amanda actually pulled the data from the 2022 and put that on. So basically what it looked like was we had the old information and then the new information in blue. And so we went over the blue to make sure that it was accurate, how we wanted it to look, and if anything needed to be changed, we did. We did that. We went through the whole thing, took out things that didn't exist anymore. There was some partners and some what's the court? What is the word I'm looking for? Anyway, things that didn't exist, we took those and then looked at that very last, if you want to go to like the last, starting maybe page. Scroll down to like where it's free. So, we took out, there was a thing under those that thank you, that didn't exist. So we took that out, and then if you want to scroll down a little bit more, we then went through all of these objectives and reviewed if they needed to stay at the terms that they were at, or if they needed to move, or if they had been completed, we removed those. So then what you were given for review is the updated. So everything that was updated, Amanda went back and put it all together and sent it to us to review and approve. There really wasn't. Well, do you guys have anything you want to add as far as?
No, a lot of it is, as I mentioned at our meeting, when we did these different plans, through the RC process, that, the intent was to review them yearly on the schedule, and, having council members having first-hand knowledge and the leadership role, or assuming goal here, with the village manager rolling out some of these things. I think that, not to toot our own horn, but I think you and Anna, we kind of went above and beyond, and we kind of made some minor tweaks, but there were some big tweaks in there as well. And so the council members shouldn't be really scared of this process, but we've had Amanda. And she went through line by line and found
discrepancies and so on and so forth. And, she isn't necessarily available every day of the month, so, she may not be available, and you have to go through that process yourself, but. Yeah, I mean, I think we did a fairly good job at updating, and it wasn't just taking, organizations that don't exist out, there's much more of that project. Because that's what I thought that was. I mean, frankly, it fell upon the economic development, which is me, to make sure that, these things are happening. And I was looking at how looks good. We did this a year ago, so no big changes, and let's see. And the council wants rubber stamp. And so appreciate the fact that bringing this in light, and I think it's beneficial that we do go through this process, and we did find quite a few things that were absolute. That's all
You'll notice on their cover, there's a date on there, for instance, 2030. And that only our, master plan is required to be reviewed and rewritten every 5 years. These also can, one thing, Amanda was even speaking with Pablo, today. And the thing that he is impressed with our lineup of what we're doing is the approach that we're taking in reviewing these and rewriting these, because all they're requiring is that every year there's a motion somewhere in the agenda saying that you approve it as written. And since we are taking time to upgrade these every 5 years, or reversible, if you give us encouragement for that kind of plan. So, congratulations on it.
Okay. Looking for a motion to approve the Village of Roscommon Economic Development Plan of 2025 to 2030 as written.
I make the motion to approve the Village of Roscommon Economic Development Plan 2025 to 2030.
As a first, I guess second, please.
I'll second it. I just
You did, okay.
yeah, 2030, yeah. You give my one that's about 3.7.
Yeah. 2 inches.
Other page, you can go on,
Um,
another page, one more page.
um,
Should be right there. Okay.
That's the goal, okay.
And then the plan. The cover page doesn't change like that.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, I got a first, second on the table, any more discussion? If not, roll call please.
Ready.
Yeah.
Edwards. Yeah. Dixon.
Yeah.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Hill.
Yeah.
Miller.
Yes.
Michael. Yes. Motion.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next item is social district application for Greens Tavern, Mr. Albert.
Okay, back in November, this council approved, Woodruff County to go for the break. We have been working on maintenance, requirements, mapping and everything else. Jim Freyalis and myself kind of went through that. And Jim said you need a minimum of 2 establishments, in order to have a social district. For those establishment have to fill out an application, and this council has to approve that's so tonight what we have is we have a resolution given to you that would award Greens Tavern one of the establishments we're doing social district. If next month you'll probably have 1 or 2 more for other establishments wanting to be part of that.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve Greens Tavern application for Village of Roscommon social district.
Dreams Tavern application for the village of Roscommon Social District.
On the resolution, it says, you want to move this into all. To verify.
I think we need a roll call because there doesn't watch that evidence with the many. So simple.
Okay, yeah, for a second, any discussion?
So a quick question, so if we approve them, there's not the chance that the state wouldn't approve them, right?
Likely not, I don't think that was some sort of violation for them to go at.
Okay, for a second, any more discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Fischel.
Yes.
Reagan. Smeckle.
Yeah.
Edwards. Yeah. Lovely.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, our next item is home care proposal.
Okay, Judge Snell, thank you as far as moving graphic design, elevator at our facility. This home care proposal for $12,243. Again, we'll have that money, we'll start saving in 2.5 years. And, that elevator would utilize. It would make sense to keep it, but again, there's no one who works with currently, if ever recall it using it. It's just training unnecessary money, so I'm going to prove come in and this just assemble this elevator that costs $12,243.
Looking for a motion to approve home care to decommission our elevator for the cost of $12,243 plus the cancel.
Right, I'll make that motion to approve home care to decommission our elevator, the cost of $12,242 plus
Apple tax.
applicable.
I'll say.
Does that, will we have do we have an electrician or will we have to contract with one to have a contract? Okay, because that would be added to that's correct. So we want to add that.
Yeah, I will add that to the.
It should be very minimal for their help.
Right, just doing the dispatch.
I will add that to the motion plus applicable taxes, or applicable fee payment and electricity.
And I'll go back and I'll say. Okay, we got for a second, any more discussion? If not, roll call please.
I want to do a job here. Lovely.
Yes.
Fischel.
Yeah.
Miller.
Yes.
Smeckle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edwards. Yes. Right.
Yes.
Watch.
Okay, our next item is a discussion item, support motion control and claim of appeals. We got PA 233.
So I just wanted to give the council's opinions on writing a resolution, much like the one that I think is there. Again, I took the one from Higgins Township. I don't know, I need a lot of background, does everyone pretty much know what this entails?
Just force us to find it.
Force us to take it.
So this is a resolution against, supporting, over 70 townships filed a claim. And then since that's happened, an increase of townships and local governments have adapted these resolutions. This is the only one that I drew on here, but others in our area have also adapted the same resolution. So I just, it would be official to follow suit.
Totally agree. You know, they can literally come in and claim what say you know we don't have much security. But they can come in and claim her.
but we don't have a huge area. We don't, you know, so,
it's not really, 500 units for y'all to do, then we would all.
yeah, that is now. When I, called in, they had said, you know, yeah, we're gonna place a 300, 400 acres, because of that money we made on a small, let's say, the land and industrial. It costs them much to put that. There is to language, and draw up language to add to our zoning. In our zoning ordinance currently, the solar that's mentioned there is if you want to put it on your house. Watch glare, different things. That we could write up something in there saying that, anyone wishing to put in a solar farm in the village of Roscommon needs a minimum of 300 acres. Okay, which we don't have. Okay, so you're not necessarily.
Can they go through that legally? Because I mean, if they put in their state of Michigan. Because I mean, a lot of people, I mean, I don't know, a lot of them have it or not, but and they just say, no, we're taking it, they go out, because we're putting it in.
Well, I think that's all part of what you're just getting at, you're just making local control, and I think that having that corner, that language, that it's gonna beef up your skimming with their.
Remember, this zoning is all up to, right, but a resolution is truly a legal binding document, a resolution, making a statement that said, we're not in support of this amount, and by having a resolution, it shows, money when the other townships and organizations or bodies of government, they don't agree to any of this stuff, right? So this isn't truly a legal binding document, it was only.
Right, this is kind of a, yeah, well,
But, I would, I don't like to know.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with this on, even though we don't have the size of land that they might be claiming, I don't disagree with it. I think it's brilliant to show that we are in alliance with other communities that don't want these massive solar farms in our area.
Does the council want me to write up a resolution?
I. So,
That's talking about right now.
Yeah, that is what I would like to see, and I don't know about.
I think I like to know how you prefer to be concrete action by us. And that would allow me to come back after this and we're going to public comment before you move on a resolution. It's a tool to allow us to voice. It's not position.
Kim, you have your hand up?
I can wait for public comment.
So we're directing Ron to write a resolution up. Do we want to send it to the vice president to read, our words too? So we can act as item, so that's something they can get on a mark to the public that we're doing, vote. Yeah. Okay. Any more discussion on the Board of Local Control and Claim of Appeals against People 233? If not, we'll move on to public acknowledgement. 2 minutes for feedback.
You go ahead.
Yep.
Okay.
You told me that.
Because I wanted to give a little bit of information to, you are correct, Mr. Cody, it is a statement, for sure. And so when Public Act 233 went into effect in January, although it has been on the books, it's official in January of this year, it gives the Michigan Public, Service Commission, if you make your ordinance too hard, they will still come. So there's nothing you can really do to prevent if they so choose. Probably the village doesn't have enough property for a big event on state land. That's up to you guys. It is really about the local control, and how do you control that and protect yourself as they move forward.
They did have a conversation. Circle Power is still on pause in the village. There is no rumblings right now. They're really quiet, not answering a lot of phone calls. So I think they're just on pause until some of this comes through a little bit.
You don't know this.
It's a company who wanted to come and do the serval farm in Higgins Township. So that's a lot of acres. You know, they don't make enough money on this to do a project. So just so you'll know on that, and I'll keep in touch with them to see if I hear any rumblings or if they're starting to think about coming back forward. The other piece is speaking with your representative Borton. He is not for this as well. Obviously, because it affects Seago where he lives, and he's took a very strong stance against it, but has not really commented about our area. So in my conversation with him, he said that some of the resolutions by groups are helpful. What's more helpful for them to change those laws is individual people writing letters. Mass amount for data to see that versus here's our group, and they look very conflict, you know, like the fact things, they're just kind of pushing. So that's a helpful tool if you guys feel that's something else you want to do. He did say that serving on their appropriations for the DNR, that he is trying very hard to put something into place with that law that says you can't start doing this against local people on state land. Nothing you can do about private land. They want to put a solar farm on their house, then you do. But to try to minimize the funding that the DNR gets. That's what it says. So it's just the most comment that I had heard so far. If that gives you any guidance for what at least he's trying to do for us. Other than that, commissioner was doing good. Thanks for the goals and the input there. We'll be voting on those and doing those tomorrow. And then we will also be starting to put the action plan together. One of those that you will be seeing is how we're going to start rolling out, explaining each of the department budgets to our respective communities to say, this is where it's been spent, this is how it's spent. These are our statutory things that we have no say, and this is how much it costs us to do that. So we as a whole start to really understand how that county budget's being worked. So when we get information and say, hey, can the county help? We need money. If we don't know how that's being spent, it's really hard for us to say right now, yes, we can give more money. So they're just strapped. So that'll be coming over the next few months. We're going to be taking pieces and coming out and sharing that with you guys too. Right?
So I want to say I appreciate everything you guys are doing, that our community is so involved lately. And this is a wonderful. So when I come here now, I feel like I didn't know it. So I took a walk today and I had and I had gone to the street because there is debris in the sidewalk and the yellow cotton tape is gone. So it's, you know, it's, I don't know if that makes it a liability for village. If you can't walk on that sidewalk because there are lawn chairs and ladders, there's a ladder laying there. I don't know what that is all about. So that was kind of just something to be aware of, whoever is like home to take care of that. And then I love that we always put the banner flags with the veterans and then the school people. My husband always tells me to speed a little bit. So when we come into town, there was one kind of running from stuff, speed sign. It says 35. He goes, it's 45. I said, no, it's 35. You can't see it because there's a flag in front of me. So that one down there, because I know the speed, any traffic coming to town is kind of faster than I want, but if you can change that. That one flag, the banner, could like not go on that goes. Like that's kind of my St. Vinny's right there, I think. There's the speed flag. So that's everything else I think is wonderful.
Debbie.
Now we'll move on to council comments. This is Edward,
I don't have any comments.
which is right.
I don't know. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's your question. So I did talk around today, and I know that you can sort of discussed here, but one, the marijuana money. Ron told me today that we got marijuana money, but he's gonna have to work it out the way he did.
Cause I've seen this on 7 and 4 that Traverse City had gotten theirs in October, and there were people complaining, what are you gonna do with it? They've been sitting on it since October, but Ron's gonna take care of it. I mean, I was wondering when we were gonna get it.
Yeah, I think that in just what we're looking at, especially with progress going on in community, there's this expenses that come in from time to time that maybe even we're planned financially. I'm just gonna look to see how that balances out, in a year or so. So hey, you got any money left over, I'll take care of it. I think it needs to go towards some of our local projects, and I'll offset things. And that's kind of what my attention, she's looking at approximately $500,000 project down at Eagle Park, putting that $1.4 million project. Being that I want to, still, we are we're engineering an agreement gets extended and everything else, but there's, we're doing something with this, there could be some need for tables or an umbrella, so staying, we're in party down there, and village out, across the village out, there's something there that, little ideas like that, enhance the.
Yeah, I still, council comments in our meeting. I just would like to compliment Sue job. She has worked for years on the craft center, and she doesn't have to do this, as you all have. Yeah, she has done this for years, and I hate to bring this up, but I cannot, her grandfather was killed in the Battle of the Falls. That was 80 years ago, last month. He's very well, and I put it in the paper because I have that information. And her mother told me that he walked her to kindergarten, kissed her goodbye, and she never saw him again. He was going in the military, World War II. That was Hitler's last big push in World War II, and pretty much ended the war. But we lost thousands and thousands of our troops. So anyway, I hate to bring it up, but at the same time, for Sue's sake, I hate to bring it up. But it needs to be recognized. Okay, thank you. Jeff?
I just have, I don't know if any of you have followed anything that's going on over in Cadillac. They had an article that I read, regarding a long-standing council member that, resigned recently, name is Stephen King. Anyway, I was reading through the article, and I just took a couple, quotes out of there because they stuck out to me as things that I feel we need to understand as a council. So I just wanted to read those really quick. So in regards to, they had a council appointment, and they were kind of at a standstill for a while, and then somebody flipped. So, and it said, I think he stated, this is talking about the other person, I think he stated that he didn't want to sit there for 3 hours. So he simply voted for mayor shippers, which again, I think we have to have fortitude to do what's right for the citizens, whether we have to sit there for an hour or 3. And then his other comment was, the council is to make sure that the charter is being followed. Our job is to manage the manager, and that has all been law. So just it just kind of struck me, that, council, we have a duty to stay active, stay listening to our constituents, and making sure that things are being done appropriately. And this kind of this came to me and I just wanted to share those thoughts. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Right.
I just want to say thank you to all the people that are doing, helping our community that are a lot of work. I know a lot of work gets done by a lot of people that, not getting paid for it. So we appreciate everybody that does stuff for our village. Okay.
Well, I want to say thank you. Smith, you have something you'd like to say? I'd like to say thank you to Ron and Mr. Perry, also Amanda, for doing what they do in our village to make it fun like we do moving forward. Generally, thank you for the plan update. They do it often.
Yes,
Once again, also thank you for what you do.
I have one thing, just a reminder thing. Next month, April 17th. At the morning for the manager, at 9:00. We also have the 5 p.m. meeting. I'll get with you at that 5 p.m. meeting. You will be the, council representative. Okay. I'll get with you ahead of that, let you know when, what the format is and stuff like that. Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just gonna go off here going. Oh, okay, I can, you don't recover on the other, maybe I know, I'll not tell that. Next, John.
I have a couple things here, and there'll be 2 resolutions for the social district. We hope I will them. I'll. Jack will be here to give us our audit summary. We'll also have on the agenda, please, we have with rental track. You want a resolution for solar farm, and then also I'll let you know where the planning commission is if we're this is solar farm in our ordinance there. Did some Vanderbilt agreement with Redstone as far as you're gonna see your language on you. All I have.
On that solar line, I would do like solar slash wind energy. Maybe what you got reading, because of we're seeing, we're gonna,
Okay, anybody else have anything else for next agenda? The Ron did not discuss. If not, look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion. I'll say.
All in favor? Motion. No, I don't.